hard to believe that, but it means it's time for another episode of the Cummins Real Estate Group show with Michele Cummins and myself, Curtis Pope. Good morning, Michele.
Pope, Mr. Pope. Is that really your real name?
You know, it's funny, like, you ask me that because you'd be amazed how many people ask me over the years in my radio career, is that your real name or is that like a radio name? And I can tell you it is in fact my name, because if I was going to pick a radio name, it would probably be something a lot cooler.
Well, I think Pope's pretty cool.
Well, I think so. I mean, but I just always figured I'd just go with my real name. It would be easier that way.
What's your middle name?
My middle name is Jason.
Oh, neat. So Curtis Jason Pope.
Yes. Now you sound like my mother. Can you do that a little angrier?
Yes, I can. Curtis Jason Pope?
Yes. Now that sounded very familiar.
No, I thought that was a made-up name because I thought, in the artistic industry, that names are made up.
Well, a lot of times people do. Like, it's kind of hit and miss. Sometimes people go by their middle names or things like that to, get around it, or they want maybe just a little more anonymity. But, I don't really worry about that because nobody really wants to talk to me anyway. But, there was a time...
and I talk to you every week.
There was a time where it was asked of me if I could come up with a radio name, and it was a big process, let me tell you.
Really? What was it?
Well,
how did it go?
Well, I had this program director who felt if I was going to work on our sister station at the time that I would have to have a different name because you couldn't have the same name and be on two radio stations. Well, why would that be? It wasn't like I was on them at the same time, but still, if I was doing some fill-in work, I had to have a different name. So we sat down, and it must have taken us an hour and a half to come up with a name because we just could not agree on anything.
Okay. What are some of the names you came up with?
Well, we couldn't first off we got to we got to CJ because my family calls me CJ. So we figured, okay, that's easy. I will not forget that. It'll seem natural. Trying to find a last name that would go with it was a struggle because everything he liked, I hated. Everything that I liked, he hated, and went back and forth. It got to the point where we actually started just going through names of alcohol.
Well, those two mix once in a while.
Yes, exactly. Well, eventually we found our way to Jack Daniels. Not literally.
One of my favorites.
But figuratively, we found our way to Jack Daniels. And it was like C.J. Daniels was born. And for about a year, when I would do some fill-in work, that was my name.
That is a cool name.
But now, wait a minute. Now, you, coming from an acting background, did you ever have a stage name?
Well, actually, my maiden name is Hartunian, as you know, and it's long. So I actually thought of shortening it, 2 syllables, right? And so I was thinking like Mish Hart, Michelle Hart. But then I thought it's too close to Mary Hart, the journalist, right?
Right.
So
that might have been,
no. And then I wanted something cool, and I thought maybe I'll be a rock star. And I wrote some awesome rock star songs with Richard. And so I thought, I need a cool rock star name. And we thought, because we met in Arlington, Washington. Well, we didn't meet. We met in Montana, but we kind of courted when I lived in Arlington, Washington, because I was closer to the border. And so we came up with Ellie Arlington.
You know what? I kind of like that.
Kind of cool.
Although that sounds a little bit more like a country singer name than a rock star name.
It could be rock country.
You're doing country rock. I follow you. Okay.
Country rock, yeah.
Well, that works. It's funny when you hear the sources of some people's names and why they go that route, or because there's already another actor with that name, so they have to come up with something else.
Exactly. Like Smith is a popular name, right?
Yeah, well, I believe Michael J. Fox had to have the J because there was another actor named Michael Fox, kind of thing.
That makes sense.
And who would where would he be without the J? We always know him as Michael J. Fox.
Exactly. And you said it that way. You never said Michael Fox or Mike Fox. No. It was always Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's Back to the Future. It's Teen Wolf. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Christine Allen, my licensed assistant and realtor extraordinaire who works with me, there is another Christine Allen realtor, not here locally, but I'm like, no, there can't be another Christine Allen. There's only one, and she's here in the Fraser Valley, and she's amazing.
Well, at one point, there was another CJ Pope around my age who owed a lot of money around the Lower Mainland, and I kept getting calls from just about every collection agency.
Oh, that's too funny.
And I'm like, no. His name was like, Curtis, James or something. I'm like, no, not me.
All the collection agency after you probably needed some Jack.
Well, some
Daniels.
And I was all of like 20, and I'm like, Dad, why do they keep phoning me? And he's like, well, they just found that you have the same initials, and they're hoping that you're the guy. And I'm like, I'm getting all these calls. Do I owe money? No, you don't owe the money. I'm like, okay.
Change the name.
Eventually, it got cleared up anyway, and enough of them stopped calling me. But yeah, I was getting, for about 6 months, I was getting constant calls looking for money that I didn't owe.
Do you know today, May 1st, I always sometimes look up the national days. Like it means something. There's a national food, and there's always these days. But today is kind of special because it's National Loyalty Day, and it's also National Workers' Day or International Workers' Day. And my loyal and dedicated executive assistant Andrew Bolt, he has worked with me. He's been my right-hand man, literally, for 6 years, and he is moving on. He is moving on to something more, something that is creative, and it's because he's a creative person. He's going to do tech at his church, and they really, really need somebody, and he feels in his heart that he needs to do that. So I have to say farewell next weekend to my dedicated, good, loyal, amazing assistant and friend. And he's not leaving my life, but he is going to leave Cummins Real Estate Group. However, we have actually hired on somebody who is going to fill his shoes. And actually, they know each other, and they've worked together in the past, and we've known him for a long time, actually years and years. And Brad Fry is going to be the new Cummins Real Estate Group executive assistant. So we're very excited.
So very cool. Although, Andrew has, speaking of great names, he has a great rock star name.
He does, and he hasn't changed it. It's real.
Yeah, you see, there's a guy with he has that rock star name, Bolt. What a great last name. I
know, and he is a rock star.
Yeah, but
literally.
Now he's going to go be a rock star at church.
That's right. Rocking all over. He's great. He plays bass a lot. Like, he's so good. But he was trained on producing and recording. Like, that is his forte. And he traveled the world, actually, doing, I believe it was voiceovers for the movie, the Jesus film. So they had to go and put it in all the different languages across the world. So he's done a lot that way. So I'm happy for him, and I'm happy for his family. So, okay, so I know we're only a couple minutes away from our break. So I thought I would. This morning I wanted to mention too, because I was just interviewed for a podcast, actually, or on a podcast that is going to come out next Wednesday, and it was so fun to do. And it was with Tony and Jenny. They're realtors who've got together. They don't actually work in the same office. Tony is from Vancouver and Jenny is from Burnaby, and they put together this podcast. It's called In the House, and they've been doing it since last June, and it's really meant for realtors and for business-minded people. And they had me on, so it was fantastic. It was great to be on it, and we talked a lot about about saying yes to things, opportunities, mindset, standing out amongst other realtors. How do you stand out? How do you service your clients better? And so, if you want to listen to it, it's In the House podcast, and they also have it on Facebook. They have a YouTube. They're on Instagram, and they're going to be uploading my episode next Wednesday.
Very nice, Nancy. That is so cool that you would take the time to be part of the second best realty podcast that's out there.
I know. Well, I thought, share the love.
I have no idea. I haven't listened to it. They could be way better than us. I doubt it, but I'm just saying.
Now you'll go on there and listen. They've got a lot of great different guests. Like, they're not always the realtors. It's actually quite unique, an array of guests, which I am looking forward to having some more guests on our show. So, if anybody has a suggestion on who they would like to hear on our show, please send in your requests and let us know. We would love to find out who our listeners want to hear from.
I can give you suggestions.
Oh, Curtis. Okay, go for it.
Okay, Alyssa Milano.
Everyone had a crush on her.
I've had a crush on her since I was 12 and she was 12. Come on. I mean, it would just, I'm married now. She's married, but it'd still be great to talk to her.
Oh, totally. She reminded me, my older sister Heather seemed to have her look. She reminded me a lot of her. I thought you were going to say like Chip Gaines.
Well, I'm still waiting for that one, but, it'll happen eventually.
We'll definitely make that happen. Absolutely.
Either Chip or any of those guys would be great. But I mean, I would definitely go with Chip and Joanna there first because they're just awesome.
Yeah, and they will be. They'll come up and visit soon. I actually want them when we're back in the studio, actually having them in the studio, and we'll definitely record that, and that'll be a lot of fun. Oh, that would be just. We're never going to be able to keep that to like 25 minutes. Are you kidding me? We'll have to double. Yeah, that'll have to be a special show. Yes, it would. Okay, well, with that, we should probably think about taking a quick commercial break here. If people want more information about you as a realtor and what you do as a realtor, where can they go? MicheleCummins.ca. Sounds good. We're back with more right after this. Segment number 2 of the Cummins Real Estate Group show with Michele Cummins and myself, Curtis Pope. Now, Michele, I understand that parking spaces are becoming a big kind of question mark with new builds. Are we going to become more and more like, say, New York City, where parking spaces are gold? Yes, you know what? Times are changing, and so is the demand for parking spaces, especially in the greater Vancouver area. So they're actually looking at new changes to bylaws for developers so that they don't have to use so much space for parking and instead, in turn, use them for more residential space. So thankfully, the city is now reviewing its parking regulations, and that may be a win-win because it's going to save the developer construction costs because they're going to be able to make more, and that's a result in savings for home purchasers. So hopefully that goes through. Not many people, actually since COVID started, so since last March, so many people have now been working from home and will now work from home forever, and they're actually getting rid of some of their insurance costs and actually selling some of their vehicles. And so ICBC, I know, just put out a whole bunch of rebates and gave money to everyone back, saying it's like a COVID rebate. And, maybe they're hoping that when this is all over, people will, start insuring more vehicles again. But the reality is, I think we're going to have less and less vehicles on the road, and therefore probably less parking spaces needed. So that's one of the things that people are talking about right now. Okay, so you have like 27 cars on your lot. How much money do you get back from ICBC? Well, I never go with the flow. Humans tend to be, we follow. But yeah, tend to go against the flow. And so I'll never probably ever go down to even just 2 vehicles, even though we're two-person household. Well, I know I heard all these friends were talking, I got $300, I got $500, I got $20. I'm like, I'm going to be on the low end. I was not quite that low, but I didn't crack $200 either, so. I don't want to tell you what we ended up getting.
Well, again, you have like so many cars. You add it all up, it's probably a lot of money.
Yeah.
Enough for Richard to buy another car.
Yeah, and they're pretty much all insured. I mean, there's a few that have like storage insurance, but most of them we like keeping it insured so that because we use them.
Yeah, so basically one of the cars now has free insurance for the year.
Exactly. Pretty much. Hey, did you know we're having a movie, Hallmark, filming at our property? I'm not going to say when, but I will let you know what the Hallmark movie is on another episode. And I'm so excited about it because, I love the movies and I love locations and, I love that my properties are used for locations. So that's something, too. I even mentioned it on my TV segment that I did about one of the great things about living in the greater Vancouver and Fraser Valley area is all the locations that are had for the movie industry because we're Hollywood North and being able to place locations and use the different locations, and you never know, you may own or live in a property that has been used in a show and you might not even know.
It's funny you say that because right now in Abbotsford, I'm not sure if they're filming multiple productions or one really big one, but there is a lot of filming happening right now. They're filming in downtown. They're filming over at UFV. They're filming in a couple different spots downtown. Like there's crews everywhere in Abbotsford right now. They were even filming at Mill Lake the other day.
It's amazing what certain, things are really vibrant right now, and lots of work out there. And the industry is one of them. The movie industry, the film industry. There's a lot going on. Yeah, the pages of the production is just forever long, and they're really booming, almost like the real estate market. Oh, and that brings me to mention that I wanted to let everyone know to be very careful about the no subject of financing and a quick close. Okay, the quick close is really, be forewarned. Banks are taking double to quadruple the time to approve mortgages and get the paperwork ready for closing. So once you have a firm deal in place, you've got a firm contract, between that day and your closing day, your completion day, make sure there's enough time in between and make sure you talk to your mortgage provider about how much time they need, because typically you'd think, we can close in 3 weeks, even 2 weeks maybe, if it was a balanced market maybe, but in this crazy market that we're in, no, they need sometimes 4 weeks, sometimes 6 weeks isn't enough for certain banks. So just make sure you talk with them before you put a no subject, no conditional offer on a property with quick dates. So that's my warning there. And on top of that is the lawyers and notaries. So whoever you're going to use to convey your transaction, make sure you call them and ask them, can you convey my transaction? It's closing on this day. I have a strata, or I have a detached home, or I'm purchasing this, I'm selling that, whatever it is. Make sure you call around and make sure you know that they can do it, because there is a lot of lawyers and notaries. Every day we're getting email notifications that are saying, hey, such and such company is not taking on any more closings. They're not conveying anything for the next month, for the next 2 months. So that's definitely, nowadays you want to really jump on there and hop on there and call them ASAP. You don't want to wait to then last minute. And even if you know or you've used a notary or lawyer lots in the past, they can only do so much. So when they're done with their files, they won't take on any more. So that's my kind of heads up and warning right now as well, because the market is still hot. And next week, I believe, we will have the stats show, which will prove and show exactly how last month, how April performed compared to March, because we know that March had three record-breaking items happened in March. So let's see what April has, because I know I have been seems busier than ever last month. Literally, it's crazy. And we will be talking about a few of the new listings coming up in a little bit. But I wanted to quickly then talk about porting your mortgage, because I try to really listen to my clients and listen to the questions I get during the week, and go, okay, what does the general public, what do people need to know? What are their concerns? What are their thoughts? what are they thinking, and try to share some advice on the show. And so one of the things about porting qualifications, and so I wanted to talk about that and give some advice. Now, I'm not a mortgage broker. I'm not a mortgage provider. I do not hold my license in it. So again, talk to a professional about these things. But I will share with you what a mortgage provider has shared with me. So this isn't coming from me, but mortgage porting qualifications. So there's 3, okay? So 1, the interest rate. So if you have a fixed rate mortgage, you have better odds of your lender being willing to assist you. However, if your mortgage rates are stuck at being a variable rate, which means your rate fluctuates over time, then lenders will require you to change to a fixed rate term, because a variable rate, can generally spell out trouble for any existing property owners, as it could fluctuate throughout the years of home ownership. And, there's a lot of benefits with variable rates, but also, and you can get out of it without penalties. There's lots of great things about variable rates, but if you're wanting to port your mortgage, that's one thing you have to look at if it's portable. If you have a variable rate, it most likely won't be. 2 is purchase price of your new home. So if your new property will cost more than your existing loan, you'll probably have to go the blended mortgage route. This means that your existing mortgage payments will remain untouched. However, the difference will be blended with your mortgage payments. And then 3, your current mortgage. So if the home you're purchasing is more than you owed on your old home, you'll have to requalify for your original mortgage. Lenders will check your credit and assess whether your income can support a higher mortgage rate or not. This will help determine whether you're able to port your mortgage. So some people don't think that. They think, I already have the mortgage. I was already approved for it. I can just port it. I can just move it over to my next property. Well, you may not be able to do that without being completely requalified. So a flexible solution, for many, their lender would specify if their mortgage is portable before you even get approved in the first place. Fortunately, most mortgages are able to port, but with that being said, however, not all mortgages are portable, and you may be unable to negotiate your mortgage's terms after the fact. So this is why it's incredibly important not to jump into a new mortgage without shopping around for the best mortgage term and interest to ensure you'll be set up in a way that works best for you in the long run. So this is why working with professional brokers and lenders is really important when shopping for a mortgage in the first place. Not just going to your bank that you've banked at for the last 40 years, but go to a professional mortgage provider. This can ensure you don't have to pay the fees for breaking your mortgage if you're purchasing a new property. The penalty to break your mortgage can often be more than the fees associated with porting your mortgage. They can be astronomical a lot of times. So just don't think, there's going to be a fee, and think it may be small. Definitely call and find out what that fee is to break your mortgage, and know what it is. Know your costs. If you're looking to avoid these future costly fees, make sure you're putting in the research to ensure you have a current mortgage that is flexible. A lot of people with all this, the COVID-19 pandemic, buyers have been rushing to take advantage of the historically low interest rates, but no matter how good the deal may seem, you still want to take proper precautions. Take the time to really look into it and to study. Literally concentrate on it and just do it. You will be way better off because you really researched and you looked into your options rather than just jumping into something that seems great, because you just don't know. So that's advice about porting mortgages and mortgages.
All right. Well, do you have some new listings we need to talk about?
Actually, yes. We've got a few new coming up this week, and I've been actually starting Facebook Live walkthroughs because, we haven't had open houses for a long time, and the market has been so crazy busy, I just have not been able to have the time, of course, to do it, and properties fly off the shelves, right? But I decided, no, I'm gonna buckle down, and I'm gonna start doing these Facebook Lives again, because there's a lot of buyers coming out from Vancouver. I've had 3 or 4 buyers come out from Calgary this month. There's a lot of buyers coming in from out of town, out of area, and they don't have time a lot to view properties before we're looking at offers. So I've decided to start doing that again. I did 3 this week, and I'm doing 3 next week. And I tend to like to do it around noon during the week. So keep an eye on my Facebook business page. Keep an eye on my Instagram. Go on the events. I created an event, so go on there so that you don't miss out and you're reminded. So hit like you're joining so that you're reminded of it on the day. And that way you can have a look at it and share it with your friends and family, with your coworkers, with people you know that are looking for properties so that they have easy access to walk through. I show every nook and cranny, so I walk around and really show everything. Okay, so the first one is 8586 Shook Road. So this is a waterfront property. This is going on the market next week. The land size, it's 0.9 acres, and the house size, it's a custom home, and the views of the lake. It's right on the lake. You got your own dock. There's a couple decks. It's beautiful. It was built in 2005, and so that is a gem. It's gated, and it's gorgeous. Right in Mission on Shook Road on Hatstick Lake. And then the next one I've got is in Mission 2. It's off 14th Avenue. It is gated, and it's actually a good size lot. It's 10,000, almost 300 square feet. The house has an unauthorized suite, and this one has views as well. It needs some TLC. It's one of those that could be a great flip, like great. Like if you want to put some, elbow grease into it, this is a great property, and it's priced at $899. And then the third one this week is Hot Springs Road out in Agassiz. It's actually on the Hot Springs Road headed into Harrison Hot Springs. And it is a gem because it's got two houses on one property. It's almost an acre, and both houses are about 900 square feet each. They're both rented out. This is an amazing investment because it's gorgeous backyard. It's got landscaping. It's flat. It's fully usable. No easements or right-of-ways or things to worry about. There's also a double detached garage on this property, and this is priced at $899 as well. So when can you get like an acre with two houses, a detached double car garage, flat usable land? It's wonderful. So those are my three listings this week. I will have the live Facebook walkthroughs this week, and definitely call me if you have any questions about them. Oh, and my quote of the week: "The sky has no limits, neither should you." This is from a Jamaican sprinter. He's known to be the fastest and greatest sprinter there is. He is now retired, and he has that great quote for us, and it's Usain Bolt.
Or Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt.
Oh, yes, that's how you pronounce it. Thank you, Curtis.
That's what I'm here for, to help you out with some of those more difficult names and words.
I really appreciate you doing that for me.
All right. Well, if people want more information about what you do as a realtor, where can they go?
MichelleCummins.ca.
And make plans to join us again next week when once again we will talk real estate in order to unlock your real estate potential on a show where real estate is maximized. Thanks for listening.